But that means behind closed doors, he's going to get a rollicking, I think.
And rightly so.
Yeah.
I'd be calling him to my office if I was Chris Davis, and I'd be really laying into him for that because he's let the team down, he's let the fans down, and you could argue that with 11 men on that pitch, I honestly believe we could have won that game.
So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue. And sadly, the home record at St.Andrews has come to an end with a 3-2 loss to Hull City. Now, it was a game, to be fair, that had a lot of everything. It had 5 goals, it had a red card, had a little bit of a fight in the middle of the pitch at one point. But sadly, we come away with nothing and Hull City go up north with the 3 points. So, Dad, I mean, from my perspective, I still think we had the best part of that game.
Yeah, and the stats will tell you that as well. But we're the architects of our own doom. That we created that result. It was us. Hull only had their 2 chances which they scored prior to sending off, and they had chances after that because we were chasing the game. We were going to leave ourselves exposed at the back, so they had more chances after that. But the red card, I mean, ridiculous red card that put us under pressure. We was already losing by that point. We were down. And to get a red card for what happened, we will talk about that in more detail.
We were in the game.
Yeah,
it's so frustrating.
We were in the game because I think and this might sound a little bit strange. I thought we played some decent stuff in that game. And one thing we can't criticise Blues fans in that game. We didn't get the points. We know that. We know we lost the game, and I know that's disappointing. But you can't fault the effort of those players. They tried, and it was always difficult going down, particularly when you're losing the game as well. If you're losing the game at home and you go down to 10 men. You're automatically in trouble, aren't you? So I think, as I said, I think we're the architects of our own downfall here, and I think we actually gave that game to Hull.
Yeah,
and I think it would have been a different story with 11 men as well because of the pressure we put on with 10 men. Where they had their chances and where they scored their last goal, it's because we were short at the back. We had a central defender that had been sent off. So if we're going bombing forward, trying to get an equaliser, we are going to leave gaps at the back. And I said to you, with about 5 minutes to go, when it was 2-1 to them, I said, this is either going to be 2-2, we'll equalise, or they will score another goal. And as it happened, we ended up getting, it was 3-2 in the end, wasn't it?
But your point still stands that they scored because we became so open at the back.
Yeah.
So they were just pinging it to the wing, cut in and a goal. And, I think it's another reminder of the Championship, Dad. Hull, they are aggressive. They don't get bullied. They're physical. They play some decent football at times, but I think we were the better team in that game, and we got punished.
Yeah.
They scored on 11 minutes, and they scored just before half-time. They had 2 chances in the first half, and they took them.
Yeah.
And it just shows you this league is ruthless. If you don't take your chances and put teams to the sword, you will get punished.
Yeah.
And again, it's another story today of us being punished by 2 chances. I mean, we can go through the goals now if you want, Dad, but really, again, what's really disappointing about this season is I felt like last year, and fair enough, I know it's a season, different season, League One, we had different players, I completely appreciate that. But after we got over those initial woes, we were so solid at the back.
Yeah.
We barely looked like conceding a goal in most games after that sort of November period. We really tightened up, we really mastered that defensive art, and we look really fragile at the back, don't we? We look wobbly, we're making mistakes, we're making errors, and I think that's the biggest disappointment to me, that again, we've lost today off the back of individual errors again. Yeah. Today we looked good. We played some good football. Patrick Roberts looked good. I thought he looked dangerous. Dimmy looked quite dangerous. Leonard had a good game, that bite in the midfield. There were some really good individual performances. But 2 things, we got punished. We didn't take our chances. And we're being hamstrung by our own demise, as you kind of said in the intro, and we're creating our mistakes again.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like you said, their goals were absolutely ridiculous from our perspective again, really. I think as well, the only change from the starting lineup against Wrexham was Keshi came in the number 10 position, actually.
Good to see him back, actually.
It was good to see him back, but I thought he was going to be on the left, but he came in as the number 10, and he replaced Dykes, who started against Wrexham.
And by the way, could I just jump in, Dad? Because I like Keshi, and I think Keshi had a good game. I like his physicality. I like what he brings. But again, that's a glaring gap in the squad, isn't it?
It's a problem. That is clearly a problem.
If you're trialling Keshi in the number 10.
Yeah, how many players have we played in the number 10? I can think of Doyle playing there, Stano's been playing there, Dykes has played there,
Williamson's been there.
Early in the season, Williamson was played there, and now Keshi. So clearly, I think Chris Davis knows that's a problem position, and I think when he comes back and he comes back fit, I think Dux will be the first choice number 10, or Williamson. Williamson can play in that number 10 position as long as you don't play him out on the right. But clearly, the selection of Keshi in the number 10 tells us that Chris Davis has got a problem in that position because Keshi is not a number 10.
No. He played well, though.
He always does, though. You always get what you get with Keshi, don't you? He'll put the effort
I
in.
like his physicality he brings. And, Dad, I said to you quite early, didn't I? Like, they're quite an aggressive team, Hall. When you look at Ollie McBurney, look at their midfielders, their tall centre-halves. I said to you, I think I used the word physical, but what I meant to use was aggressive. They're aggressive. They don't get bullied. They are strong. And I felt like in the first half, we matched that level. We were strong. Paik put in some big challenges. Love seeing Paik put challenging. Clara was pushing with Ali McBurney. There was good battles across the pitch. I felt like we were quite aggressive ourselves. It looked quite good.
Yeah.
We were playing some fluid football. I thought the link up between Roberts and Keshi Anderson was really nice in certain parts. Dimmy was dangerous when he got on the ball. I thought we actually played. And this is what makes this one even more frustrating: is we actually look decent.
Yeah,
we played some good football.
Yeah, we've played games before where we've not played that well and we've won games.
Exactly.
And this is just frustrating. At the end of the day, all that the score is going to show is that we lost that game 3-2. We get no points, they get 3, exactly. and rightly so. That's what we should be looking at. But we have to look into the game now. Statistically, obviously, we went down to 10 men after 59 minutes when Jack Robinson got his double yellow. And was sent off. But overall, in the whole game, 65% possession, and with half an hour with 10 men, and 28 shots in total with 8 on target. So we weren't short of impetus going forward.
No.
But we obviously missed some chances, and it's the back, like you said, Matt. I don't think there's just a problem at the back, actually. I think the back is a big difference from last season. We were solid at the back. But I think this season, it ain't just the back, is it? I think the problem is that we have Chris Davis has got this conundrum. I don't think he still knows what his best formation is. Well, he always plays the same formation, but his best starting 11 are. Obviously, you would argue there's only one change from the Wrexham game. But we've still got players out that are likely to come in when they're fully fit. But it still don't look right to me. We look better going forward. There's no doubt about that. And we did say that was a problem previously. The midfield, obviously, Mark Leonard, again, I agree with you. He didn't do anything wrong. He was solid.
I'd go one step above that. I thought he had a good game.
Yeah.
He had some stray passes.
Yeah.
But he's a midfielder.
What's going to happen though when Bright Soy-Sama comes back into that right back position? Owata's going to be shifted back into the midfield in the sixes alongside Paik, and that means that you're going to find Mark Leonard again on the bench.
Yeah, I think Mark Leonard deserves to start.
Yeah, so do I.
And Tommy Doyle.
But it appears obviously and clearly we know he's a good player, but he's a big favourite of Chris Davis as Owata. He starts off in the number 6s, then he plays at right back, and then as soon as Robertson gets sent off, we'll think Neumann's coming on, but he actually shoves Owata into centre half.
We'll get back into the game in a minute, Dad, but what I would love to see, just as a test, just as a trial, is Leonard and Tommy Doyle. Because you'd have Leonard, who's kind of like Davey sees him as quite a box-to-box midfielder, quite a break-up player, a bit of an Owata. He kind of sees him in his mind. And Tommy Doyle is similar to Paik. And by the way, I'm not saying I dislike Paik. Everyone knows if they watch this podcast regularly, I like Paik and I like Owata. I'd love to see a little bit. Because, Tommy Doyle comes on, Dad. The first thing he does, a forward pass straight through to Stansfield.
Yeah.
Leonard's gives us something different as well. I just think... there's nothing wrong with Paik and Owata, but I think sometimes we need to mix it up a little bit. And I think, Davies is still finding his best 11. I totally agree with what you're saying. But I think the selection at the minute isn't quite there.
Yeah, I sort of disagree in as much as, we need to mix it up a little bit. I think the problem is we're mixing it up too much. I think, in my opinion, but I get what you're saying about trying different players in different positions, but of course that does mean a change to the team, and we've just said that there's too much of that. But again, all of this might be needed. We might need to go through a bit of pain over the next few weeks and months for Chris Davis to find that right solution. We might not quite have it, so we might need that extra player or two in January to give us what actually we'd really need.
What's worrying, Dad, is he's not. You are right. There is change, but he is quite loyal to the players that he likes, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he's not actually giving Tommy Doyle a chance really to start. And the game he did come on, he was our best player, and he took him off on 60-odd minutes.
Yeah.
So there is tests, and he is testing the water in certain positions. But I think he needs to be a bit more aggressive in trying different players. Again, I completely agree. There is something to be said for stability, but if you're mixing it up, you don't know what your starting 11 is. Have you got much to lose?
No,
I don't know. I don't know the answer to these questions.
He's going to have to, because he's going to have to try things differently, because obviously something's not just something just doesn't feel right. You look at the players, think actually we're having good play, good phases, and then you think, oh, is it the forward line? And then we get more shots on target and but then you think, oh, no, the back's control. Then we're struggling with set pieces, and we're going through all these things that are not quite right. But somehow this all needs to come together, and it needs to come together quickly. But one thing I want to say before we go on that, I do want to talk about the goals and sending off as the main part of the podcast. But let's not forget about Jay Stansfield either. In terms of we talk about all these players that are doing well and maybe not doing so well. But Stano is so consistent; he'll give you everything every single game. He got 2 goals in this game, and his energy is absolutely fantastic. And without him, I honestly would be really, really worried. I'm not worried at the moment. I'm not. After that performance, I haven't come away being totally devastated.
No.
Obviously, I want the 3 points. I think on the basis of the way we played, we deserved at least a point.
I'll throw Patrick Roberts into that mix as well, Dad. I think without him, we'd be in trouble creatively. He goes past players.
Yes.
He's quick. He likes his quick link-up play. He passes. But I think with him off the pitch, we don't look as creative. So I think Roberts and Stano are invaluable at the moment. And Dimmy as well. We have got a couple of wing space there, Dad. But before we get on to the goals and the sending off and all that, I just want one more final thing. And this isn't a knock necessarily, because I think we did a lot better today going forward, right? But what does frustrate me still is we get the ball, we go forward, and we allow Hull to come back in that defensive shape.
Yeah.
Like, we've broken the press, we're on the counter, we've transitioned, and suddenly we're facing a bank of 5 because we're too slow.
Yeah, we
ball,
spoke about that during the game, didn't we?
Tempo. Yeah. Let's keep shifting that ball quickly, because when we do, we look dangerous. And what frustrates me is when Hull and other teams get into that back 5 or back 4, whatever, we don't look like breaking them down.
No.
We allow them too much time to get back into that defensive position. That was my final point on the kind of
that's an important point, because obviously in training, teams will talk about and getting back into their shape quickly. So if you do break the press and you break quickly, then if you keep going forward, you might create a chance. But the minute you sort of turn or go sideways, you've allowed them to get back into that
position.
And they know that shape. All the teams know. They know their jobs, they know their shape, they know what the opposition are going to do. So I think that's a very, very important point. So if we are going forward, let's get a goal scoring chance rather than sort of having to drag it back.
But again, Dad, to play into your point, how many times do we do that?
Yeah,
we pivot back.
Yeah,
Beadle, Clara.
Yeah.
So, oh my word, boys. That's the goal. Even if it comes to nothing and we kind of scupper it, it's worth taking the gamble and the risk of getting their players out of position and missing the chance than just going side to side.
Yeah.
We could get a penalty from it. We could hit the post. We could get a corner. We could get a throw-in. Who knows what those outcomes are? But when you just go backwards, it just shows a lack of ambition, doesn't it?
It does.
Anyway, sorry, Dad, let's go on to the game.
Obviously, we'll talk about very briefly about the goals and the sending off, because they're the key points of the goal.
Sending off's the biggie for me.
Well, let's go to the first goal first. The first whole goal, which I think at the time was against the run of play. I think we were playing some decent stuff. We weren't creating an awful lot, but we were playing good football.
Better team.
Yeah, and McBurney slips the ball through to Cole Joseph, and he has a shot, which is saved by Beadle, but Jack Robinson's running onto it, and I think he's unlucky that it hits him, and it just momentum goes into the goal. It ricocheted off him, didn't it? And that went 1-0 to them, which I thought that
it's too easy.
It was
way too easy.
Yeah, so the first through ball they score. Why can't we do that? Okay.
Championship, Dad. Higher level, you're going to get punished. But that was disappointing for me. Too much space, too much time on the ball. And we said in the preview, Dad, we have to cut Hull supply, and we didn't, and they score from it.
Yeah, exactly as well. And we sort of went at them again. And Patrick Roberts, he curled a ball. And it was blocked by, I think it was Charlie Hughes, one of their defenders. So that was a good chance. And then we got our goal. We got our goal back, which was a good goal again. Patrick Roberts again passed the ball through to Pake.
Lovely ball to Pake, that was, wasn't it?
Yeah, good shot, which was saved by the goalkeeper. And then Stano was the right man in the right place at the right time to slam it in for 1-1. At that point, I thought we're going to go on and win this game. I know it's early. That was about 27th minute, but we just felt that we had the impetus to move forward. And then. Oh, gosh, their second goal just before half-time.
Before we get to that goal, though, Dad, what about the Keshi push in the box? What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, again, I mean, let's not talk about the referee. I don't want to highlight the referee in terms of giving him much airtime, but...
Dad, but when both sets of fans are singing "You're not fit to referee," you know you've had a stinker.
Yeah, or at least been consistent. It's been bad for both teams, I mean, obviously the referee didn't give it, and we could talk all day whether it should or it shouldn't be. The referee didn't give it, and obviously game goes on, and then just before half time, again, this was such a disappointing goal for me. It probably worse than the first, really. I think it started off from a free kick that they should never have had. Just halfway through in our half, knocked it across. And I think it was Louis Coyle crossed it, and again, Slater was literally not even marked. That's the bit that disappointed me. It was a completely free header. He just drifted into the box.
Yeah.
I mean, how have you got that much space in an opponent's box? I don't get that.
Someone tweeted, Dad, he had all the time in the world to bake a cake before he made that header. And it was true, wasn't it? He had all the time in the world. No one marking him, all the space. Really disappointing. He could have put that anywhere in the goal. He had that much time to focus on it.
It's our box.
No
and
challenge.
there's not even one of our players anywhere near him. I mean, that was, to me, the big disappointments of the goals and their games. And that was just before half-time, so they went in 2-1 up. And then we started the second half quite brightly. You know, we had a few chances with Keshi. He basically sort of drifted around a couple of players and put a left-footed shot, which was basically straight at the goalkeeper. Panda, their goalkeeper, isn't it? Straight at him. So if you'd have kicked that anywhere else, it would have been a goal. And then the red card, and we can't not talk about this. I mean, obviously, I think the players were annoyed because we'd had a shot that clearly took a deflection.
Yeah, Leonard took a shot. Yeah. It clearly went over the bar. Clearly took a deflection.
And our players were saying to the referee, how is that not? And we were all doing that, wasn't we? Yeah. But, of course, then Jack Robertson gets involved. And he's obviously said something foul and abusive to the or aggressive to the referee. And he's given me a yellow card. But he
carried on.
He carried on. And he must have said something else, and he's given another, and I find that.
But Dad, can I just interrupt you here as well? But we saw this when he played for Sheffield United at Blues when we beat them in the cup. He was standing the line. I'm not going to repeat it, but he was howling at this line, and you even said then I'd have sent him off.
I would have, because as you know, watched the channel. I used to be a senior county referee, and if any player had spoken to me in that way, they would have got a red card. Yeah. But obviously it's happened again, and he's given. But it's a double yellow. It's a double yellow because he's obviously said something to the referee. The referee's given me yellow. So rather than calm down and just walk away, he carries on at the referee, and you be abusive to a referee, and now they have every right to send you off.
And he should know better than that, Dad.
Chris Davis knows that as well, because I don't know if you saw his press conference.
I haven't, no.
Yeah, I have. And
we're only recording a couple of hours after the game tonight, so I've not seen any post.
Yeah, I saw it just before I came down, and he basically said that it didn't really slate him, but he said that basically players shouldn't be doing that.
No.
So I think he.
But that means behind closed doors, he's going to get a rollicking. I think.
And rightly so.
Yeah.
I'd be calling him to my office if I was Chris Davis, and I'd be really laying into him for that, because he's let the team down, he's let the fans down. And you could argue that with 11 men on that pitch, I honestly believe we could have won that game. With 11, because we with the 10 men we allowed Hull onto more chances. So it looked like they had a few chances at the end, but we were chasing it because we were down to 10 men.
What I'd say about that, Dad, and I know this might sound a bit deep and a bit silly and maybe take it too seriously, but I hope Jack Robinson, when he sits at home tonight, he thinks about all the all the fans who have paid their season tickets, dedicated half a day away from their family, they've come to the game, and he's let the team and the fan base down there. We've all dedicated that time to go support our club. It was completely unnecessary. He needs to have a big, long, hard look in the mirror. What's that? 2 red cards in 3 starts. Dad, I made a joke on a previous podcast about him being wacko from Mike Bassett, England manager. It's actually turned out that way. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah. He cannot be getting 2 red cards in 3 games.
Oh, you can forgive him for the Coventry one because he was tackles, and you can mistime a tackle or whatever.
Still clumsy.
No, I get that. It is clumsy. I'm not defending that, by the way. But I'm saying is to get a red card, 2 yellows, and get a red card. 2 yellows is a red for abusing the referee. He's unforgivable
in a space of 30 seconds.
Yeah, and I think it's absolutely ridiculous. And I think he's just a red mist must have come over him. Yeah. But the thing is,
you're a professional footballer. You've got to control that.
It's not new, is it? Because we've seen it before, like I say, against us in the cup. And we know from Sheffield United fans have said that he's prone to do this type of thing. But anyway, that put us right under the cosh.
Yeah.
Already 2-1 down, now down to 10 men. So Chris Davis makes some substitutions. All of us expecting Neumann to come on. Yeah. What does he do? He puts a Water at centre half and then brings on Tommy Doyle.
There's a serious problem there, isn't there, Dad? Why doesn't Neumann come on?
I don't know, and obviously Robinson's going to be banned for the next. So I honestly don't know whether it was the double yellow represents the red. Does that mean it's a 1-match ban or a 3-match ban? I don't know, but he's going to be missing for a game at least, maybe a few more.
I don't think we'll see him very often in a blue shirt after that. I think that will give such a message in Chris Davies' head that he's so untrustworthy. Why would I start you?
We can't play in the Championship with 10 men, and we've done that now in 2 games because of him. And I think that 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 I don't really want to talk about it because it's made me mad.
Yeah.
I think of that. That's not fair to the rest of the players now chasing the game.
Yeah.
Because
And fair play to the rest of the players, Dad. They dug in.
They really did.
They dug in. But
so Kyogo came on as well, and Beadle as well made a couple of good saves. Double save from Galhart. Really good
He's
save.
a good shot stopper, isn't he, Beadle, Dad? I think we kept saying that at the game, didn't we? He's a good shot stopper.
Yeah, and so one was from Galhart and the other was from Liam Miller. And then we had Kyogo came on. He created a chance where he literally dinked it through. I think he nutmegged one of the defenders, but he knocked it well wide, didn't he? When he basically just had to get it on target, really. And then there were some whole chances after that in the final 10 minutes. This is where they were coming on to us because we were chasing the game.
We were open, weren't we?
Yeah, our previous player, Cody Drama, he hit the upright from a really, really tight angle. And then their third goal, which really killed the game off, really. Literally was Galhart grabbed it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Good finish, actually, past Beadle. But, they outnumbered us because we'd bombed forward. They literally just flooded our box and outnumbered us. That was 3-1. And then we got a penalty, didn't we, towards the end? Was it Dykes that was fouled in the box?
Stansfield, I think. Was it Stansfield?
Okay,
was it a push on Stansfield?
I can't remember.
Could have been Dykes.
I know that it was Stansfield who took the penalty and converted it. But 3-2 in the end, it finished. And, it's such a shame. It's such a shame to lose our home record that way, but at least I can't be mad at the players who were on that pitch because I think they put the effort in, and they clearly had much more of a goal threat. But ultimately, whichever way we wrap this up, Matt, we've still got 0 points from this game.
And Hull go back with all three, and it's disappointing to lose it in that way, Dad. I felt like we were in the game for large parts of it. We really grew into the first half. I thought second half, even down to 10 men, we were pretty dominant.
Yeah.
And then, even before that, Jack Robinson gets sent off. Really, really disappointing way to end up losing that game, losing our home record too. And I think ultimately here, Jack Robinson has to have a good look in the mirror here because that is not acceptable.
Yeah, we can't.
And ultimately, Dad, we move on to Preston. The games are coming thick and fast. We've now got 2 difficult away games, Preston and Bristol City. Final thoughts, Adam. We're going to close the video off.
Well, just one final comment for me. You can always tell what the crowd think at the end of a game, and we were down to 10 men. We lost the game 3-2. Yeah, as we were leaving the ground at the very, very end, the crowd were clapping.
Yeah.
Giving
the effort.
For the effort. It was for the effort. Obviously, there was no points to clap, but it was for the effort. But yeah, very disappointing, and obviously still a lot to work on with this team, and we need to start picking points up. So Chris Davis has got a job on his hands, I think.
Yeah, agreed. But as always, Birmingham City supporters, we would love to hear from you. Please let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Maybe you're a Hull City supporter. Maybe you watched the pre-video. Maybe you've tuned in for the first time. We'd love to hear from you as well. If you like this video specifically, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up and check us out on our social media channels. We have an X page, an Instagram page, and we're also over on Spotify, so you can listen and watch us over there. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and press that bell icon so you get notified every time we post. And myself and Dad will see you on the next one, all about Birmingham City.